Welcome to, I believe, episode 19 of Mental Health and Addiction, my YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel, too. Excuse me. I have moved. I've been very busy. I'd love to show off my new place and digs and stuff, but there's more serious stuff going on. I've got some crazy shit going on in my house. Sorry, I'm just having fun with that. But I want to talk to you guys about something, and that's the state of our country. I have traditionally, this channel has been about mental health, but I'm concerned about the mental health in America. And, initially I thought I would be able to separate political stuff from this, from what I do here, and I will try to as much as possible. But for right now, it's November 2nd. There's a lot on the line. Tomorrow is election day, guys. If you haven't already cast your ballot, if you're feeling wishy-washy about it, I'm telling you, if you haven't been paying attention, because I have, and I check my facts. That means when I hear something salacious about either side, I go and fact check it. There are fact check websites that are nonpartisan websites, meaning they don't skew the results towards one way or another. They just want to get the facts out there. And that is what's missing in the Trump campaign. Is factual information, accurate information. It is sad to say he's running on lies, propaganda. He showed a dystopian type Orwellian feeling film in I think it was Michigan, somewhere, during one of his rallies, and it just gave a very grim, look of the future, as if, he is the only one to save us. And you guys, the stuff that's coming out about, the side that opposes Trump, not just Democrats, but Republicans that have had enough with Trump. There are rumors being spread about Democrats, mainly, as being involved or basically overseeing an underground, some kind of deep, dark secret of child sex trafficking. Can you say this stuff? Cannibalization and devil worship. It's a trifecta of the three most horrible things you could think of. Child molester. Maybe they kill and eat them. Whatever the freaking third one was, because those two were so bad. Satan worship. Devil worship. Okay, guys. This is QAnon conspiracy theories. QAnon has propagated and spread more lies, and the word propaganda is a dual meaning word, but when you use it and you're talking about political stuff, it's the bad word. It's lies, and he has used actual techniques that have been employed in the past to lie to and convince people of outrageous things. He projects onto others his own perceptions of misconduct in himself, which makes me believe that just because he knew Jeffrey Epstein, he feels like, oh my God, I was associated with him, that could become a big issue, which it probably would have, but, there's been so much other stuff come out that's just so distracting from the factual information. And anything that's from QAnon, anything that talks about Black Lives Matter being a terroristic organization, or that Black Lives Matter means that only Black Lives matter. There's a comparison held. Let's say you hear some commotion outside. Let's say you see this happen. There's some commotion outside in a neighborhood. A lady walks out of her house. No, someone knocks on her door even. And she's like, what's going on? And this lady's like, oh, so-and-so's house is on fire over here. And she's like, oh my gosh. Well, what about my house? And the woman knocked on the door for help was like, what? She's like, my house matters too. And she's like, of course your house matters too. No one said it didn't. And the other lady's like, right, but my house matters. Okay, so this house is on fire. Over here. The one that is over here that the lady's talking about. She's like, this house is on fire. Meanwhile, this lady's concerned about whether her house matters. That is what's going on with racism in America, and that's what's going on with this. I don't even think it's ignorance. I think it's some acceptance of and
there is not widespread evidence of voter fraud. It does not exist.
Ignoring some of the things that we see as far as racism goes, in which it's obvious that there is institutionalized, or if you want to call it systematic, rather, racism. And, a lot of people just won't possibly believe that, but you're welcome. I've done the research, and I've been disturbed at the stuff that I've seen. I mean, more so than what I already knew. And what I have seen has been factual information. It's been backed up by everything that I'm talking about is factual information. I would not spout stuff that I cannot back up. Okay. So please hold on when I tell you that Trump is a white supremacist, a propagandist, and a could-be dictator. No exaggeration whatsoever. He is calling for poll watchers, and these poll watchers in many states are legally able to open carry, handgun or whatever gun. They're licensed in some states, I guess they're not. And they can do this, open carry on your hip. And they have separate licenses for concealed carry, for open carry, whatever, and different rules, I guess. But you have to take a certain course to know each rule. If you have one, you don't automatically have the other. At least that's how it works in Texas. That's how I used to live there. So, and that's another thing I want to talk about is, you guys in Texas, you've got to go to the polls. If you haven't gone already, go stand in the line. It's one day that matters more than any other day in your life so far. I guarantee you. This is something that you need to do for yourself and for your country. Poll watchers employ fear tactics at times. Do not let them scare you away. Be bold. Face ahead. Don't look at them. Walk like you're in New York City. You face ahead and you don't look at other people because you don't want to interact with them. You look ahead and you confidently walk through a shitty neighborhood or whatever whatever you have done in the past to get by, some ignorant ass situation. There should not be people that are standing in front of the polls, watching. What are you watching? What? I don't get it. What do you think an elephant is going to walk up, and then a donkey's going to walk up, and they're both going to try to vote? Well, I don't get what's going to happen. What are you watching? There are people inside who are trained for this. We don't need untrained, armed people who already have a bias because they are out there at the direction of their president. And I don't believe that they realize the serious damage that these activities that they're participating in at the behest of the president, that they are so threatening to democracy itself. Do you want to live under the thumb of a dictator? Because that's what Trump wants to be. That's what he's acts like. And this is not an exaggeration. He's taken pages from the Nazis' playbook. And this is not an exaggeration. I know using the reference Nazis is kind of passé, but this is when it applies. The white supremacists coming out of the woodworks, emboldened by this president, committing acts of violence and voter intimidation against those perceived as other or whoever they dislike. These people hate everybody. If you're not like them, they pretty much hate you. And they'll say, no, we're not a hate group. We just support, our race. Well, your race, the white race, does not have a problem with representation. Check on friends, loved ones, you think might not have done it yet. There's great information on iwillvote.com. Allowing others equal representation does not take anything from a white person's rights. They still have those rights, same rights. They still have the color of their skin or whatever it is that they're so proud of, and yet also so threatened with in some way. I don't know what they're trying to scare people with the word socialism, and they use countries like Venezuela or other failed countries which have dictators. No, that is a dictatorship. North Korea, the real name of North Korea is the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Okay. Same with the Soviet Union. USSR stood for some kind of like Soviet. It sounds like all good and fun. They add words like democracy and people's party to their name and stuff, but it means crap whenever you have a dictator. And Trump is buddying up with guys like Erdogan of Turkey. He's a dictator. He's a new dictator, recently, fairly new. Obviously, with Kim Jong-un, tried to buddy up with him. Totally backfired. He just likes that kind of. He's drawn to that kind of power. The man is a power-hungry, selfish liar who will say anything, and he has said and promoted everything from QAnon conspiracies, flat out lies, projecting onto others some of his own personal feelings of where he doesn't feel man enough or whatever enough But this man is insecure. He needs constant praise, and this is not the man that needs to be president. He has serious mental health problems. Now, I can't diagnose that for him, for you guys, for you, whatever, but I can tell you that he's unstable. There have been people who have, given diagnoses based on their, what they can see of Trump and what we know of what he's done and stuff like that, and that's kind of anecdotal stuff. But there's several of them that add up to saying he has this or this type of issue, but basically they're trying to say that this man should not be president. He does not have our interests at heart. He does not have that ability, and he never has, since he's been in office, had that interest to help the American people in any way. He has enriched himself at taxpayers' expense with moving the hotels and the places where meetings have been held with foreign diplomats and heads of state, from, I think it was called the Capitol Hotel or something like that in Washington, D.C., to places like Mar-a-Lago, his place, and other locations he has throughout the country and throughout the world, charging $650 a night for his entourage, which gets each their own room of security detail. And, they have buddied up in the past and done two to a room before in the past, but, and Trump's the one that benefits off this. He's making that $650 because he owns that property, and he's directing the government, the business of the government to be conducted in his conference rooms and in his, presidential suites and stuff. He is bankrolling himself every way he can. That is where his interests lie. They do not lie with you. He is lying about the platform of the Democrats. The Democrats will not raise your taxes. If you make over $400,000 a year, yeah, you might get your taxes raised a bit. And corporations, they need to pay their fair share. But we are going to take the burden off of lower and middle income individuals. We as, Americans, as people, that's what we should do. People that are struggling to get by should not be paying half their income to taxes, or a quarter of their income to taxes, or even 10% of their income to taxes if they only get $10,000. That's a lot. Maybe they should pay something, but they definitely shouldn't pay 10%. Anyway, there's a tax bracket system in place for a reason, and corporations have been falling through the loopholes for far too long. Lobbyists have been appointed as heads of departments for the departments which they used to lobby for, which means they can do whatever the hell they want to do, he plugged them right into the government. He basically gave the lobbyists a direct line to the government to just suck whatever they want from. That's what they did. He appointed the head of the EPA, used to be over gas and stuff like that, right? Or something like that. But it's that kind of conflict of interest. Louis DeJoy, the head postmaster general, he owns his own delivery company. Okay, there's a conflict of interest there, and at the president's direction, because this did not just happen. He did not just think this was a great idea to start running, to enter the USPS offices and start dismantling machines which the taxpayers have paid for and are used for their benefit. We've all been getting mail late. My package, I've got a package because I recently moved, delivered here from, for something that I needed for the real estate thing, and it was delayed by about a week. And, all this stuff isn't just coincidence. This is happening, and it is backed up by facts. The election is held on election day, and that doesn't mean that we always get the results on election day. Do you think that we got results on election day back when we had to do caravans across the country to get, the results of the election? No. It was printed in the paper and people found out, when they found out. But there's always been a peaceful transition of power. In the event that an incumbent president, meaning one who's already in office and is up for re-election, loses, or in the event that anyone loses, whether there's an incumbent president or not who's running because someone's term may be up, so there may be two other guys running instead of the incumbent and one other guy, which is, anyway. Nonetheless, there's never been a problem in the United States where we have a terrible uprising over the results of the election and people get violent, but we've seen what's going on this year, and I don't think anyone's going to bet on non-violence, unfortunately. But violence happens when people get oppressed. And when people get oppressed, they have nothing to lose. They have less to lose. And what they're fighting for really matters a lot more than what someone who is not fighting for it could ever dream of.
From deep
They
dives
don't.
to daily briefs, CNN Politics podcasts had you covered.
There's a struggle that is unrecognized in this country and often not spoken about.
Listen on CNN.com/podcast.
And this president is openly threatening democracy and champions of democracy. Openly, democracy itself. Calling for, other than calling for the liberation of Michigan, in which there was actually a plot to kidnap her and other places in the exact places that he mentioned. That was liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia. There was also a plan uncovered to get him, the governor of Virginia, and another one. But so in Texas, I may have already mentioned this, but the Biden bus, the Harris-Biden bus, was a campaign bus. Had a few people on it, may have had Kamala on it, and it had a few other people from Texas running for Senate and stuff like that on it, whatever. There were over 100 TrumpTrain, Trump supporters with, the big Trump flags and stuff like that, and of course the American flag, as if, you got to prove that you're patriotic while you're running your fellow Americans off the road. Who raised those people? Honestly. I'm sorry if this is flipping. But over 100 vehicles were involved in this. They attempted they did slow the bus down and nearly got it off the highway. They had to call the police to get an escort. They already had security detail in one of, those giant trucks that they have in Texas. People get in Texas, rammed it. Quite, it was just shocking to see. There's video of it. And I don't know what they're saying on Fox News and stuff, because I can't bear to watch it, because it is just lies after lies after lies. But democracy is under attack, people. Please, if you have any respect for democracy, if you have any respect for yourself, if you have any respect for the late John Lewis, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, if you have respect for yourself, for your fellow man, if you want to see this country recover, please go vote. I encourage you to vote for Biden and Kamala Harris, because Trump What you see is what you get.
127,000 drive-through ballots tossed out in Texas
And
County. They're doing this.
be careful what you believe. Look it up. fact-check.org. Google the words fact check, and you'll find multiple websites where you can do fact checking. Type in a question or a subject, and they will have something about it. One of those websites. Please do not get your facts from Fox News. They spread propaganda. I know that it probably sounds like, oh my God, you sound like a stupid fucking libtard. But, I mean, the stuff that is coming off of Fox, I say I don't watch it, but I watch other things which show what Fox News is doing, and it shows what kind of lies come out of there. And it's a lie factory. They need to save themselves. All Republicans that are in office and stuff need to save themselves from the association with this president, because this Republican Party, as it is right now, there is no room for this party. This party has drastically changed. I mean, it used to be something that, was, reasonable, and people, would work with the Democrats and they'd work with each other. But something happened after, it was really Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, but something happened after Obama got elected, and that was when the Republicans met, and they actually did have this meeting, and it's been confirmed. This is a fact, that they were not going to allow anything that this president does, meaning Obama at the time, to succeed. They wanted him to be a one-term president, and they took a very low road in doing this, and it only came out after Obama was in office for quite some time that this happened. Anyway, they vowed to just block everything he did, no matter what it was, even if it's stuff that they previously supported, such as, guess what? Obamacare! Yes, they previously supported those kinds of programs with the exact same types of universal health care. They have supported that in the past, but because it was not presented by a Republican, they said everything about it was horrible, and they tore it apart. And of course, the abortion access was just, people just acted like they just could not believe, oh my God, people can get an abortion with their insurance. Well, they're paying for insurance through taxes, whatever they're using to pay for it for. Your insurance covers that. Is there a problem with a baby? Your insurance should cover whatever. And we can't start picking and choosing our rights, saying that, okay, well, abortion is only legal if this and this and this and this, because that, no. The road narrows and it starts curving, and then there's a dead end. No, just keep the road open. And no one wants to get an abortion. Okay, people don't just want abortions. Don't just go have sex, have abortions, have sex, have abortions. Maybe some people do that who are very irresponsible, and maybe some people are perceived as doing that rather. But no one wants to just get an abortion. It's very unhealthy for the woman, and it's very traumatic for the mother to actually do that. They're often haunted by that. Terminating a pregnancy is no small decision, and it's not something that Democrats want to do, is have abortions. No, we want people to have the option of that choice for health concerns, for family preparedness in some cases, but mainly for, the fact that if we legislate stuff like that, we cannot legislate people's health care, people's love, people's basic human rights. We cannot start legislating stuff like that. Legislation against rights, such as what's happening with the courts today, Right now, they've ruled that the 127,000 votes that were cast by drive-through in Texas are legit, but it's in a lower court. Guess where it's going to go? It's going to go to another court. And until it's ruled that those can be thrown out, they'll keep appealing it all the way to the Supreme Court, where they have prepared. They've put 3 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court in 3.5 years. And Mitch McConnell, I believe it was, when someone said something about, well, why didn't Obama fill some of those other federal judge seats and stuff like that? You know, he should have done that type of thing. And Mitch McConnell said, with that kind of laugh, he said, well, that's because I was the one that was overseeing that, and that's why that didn't get done. And that's why under Obama, you didn't get any federal judges put through, because he blocked them all. Remember that meeting I told you about they had? He blocked them all. He blocked the Supreme Court justice, which, when he died, needed to be replaced, and Obama was going to replace him. It was like 11 months left in his presidency, and the Republicans threw their hands in the air saying, no, it's too close to the election. We've got to let the people speak. Meanwhile, there's court cases coming down the docket that are going to be delayed a year or two or 3. Why would we? So we tried to nominate Merrick Garland. That's who Obama nominated. Fine judge. Actually kind of moderate. Obama was very moderate. He was not as leftist as everyone's trying to make out. He did a lot of reaching across the aisle. He really did, more than a lot of Democrats wanted him to. And Mitch McConnell still made him out to be, some kind of incompetent. And he's not. It is the Trump administration, when they got in office, they inherited a good economy and a growing economy. And they also inherited a pandemic response team, along with many other, great things that we had put in place that were for preparedness, emergency preparedness, other programs and agreements we were entered into, such as the Paris Climate Agreement, or Paris Accord, or whatever it was. And the first thing Trump did was withdraw us from this agreement. We're the representatives of the world, we're thinking at the time. Why would we do that? We are supposed to lead by example. But Trump saw a way to save, I guess, $1. That'll never happen. He didn't have the facts. It's been happening. He criticized Obama for what happened with Ebola, yet what did Obama do? He created a pandemic response office, that's for sure. And it was completely dissolved under Trump immediately, fairly within a year, I think. You guys, please vote. Our lives depend on it. Our livelihoods depend on it. Our success, our happiness, the success and happiness of society and the way that we live and interact with other people is at stake. It's getting violent, and I don't want to live in a country like that. So it is incumbent upon every one of us as Americans, whether we voted or not, whether we're happy with the outcome of the election or not, we must accept the outcome of the election once it's counted and have a peaceful transfer of power if that's what happens. And if it's not what happens, that's fine. But as long as it's legitimate and the people spoken, that's fine. But if we elect him again, then we deserve our death. We deserve the fate that we're going to get. I'm telling you guys, I've been holding out on this for a long time, but tomorrow's election day. Some of you guys haven't voted yet. I guess you guys are the ones that are maybe not made up your mind yet. I don't know, but I know it's one night until voting. Please look up facts at sites that are not unbiased. Don't look at Fox News sites. You can go to Snopes.com. There's more fact-checking stuff there. Go to PolitiFact.com. Reuters, Associated Press. They may have some kind of fact-checking stuff. I know CNN does have a fact-check thing. I know a lot of people feel like CNN is a liberal channel, and this is one of the things I was meaning to say. CNN is not liberal; is factual, which tends to favor liberals. But historically, when a political party has been coming to an end after, majority rule type thing, or having a great bit of rule, historically, the party desperately tries to seize control or seize power. Because I'm telling you guys, this is a fact. There are less Republicans in this country than there are Democrats. There are fewer conservatives in this country than there are liberals or progressives or whatever you want to call it. The side of that aisle, whatever you want to call it, the belief systems. But you don't have to be locked into all the beliefs on this side or all the beliefs on this side. However, and I say a lot about what it means to be a Democrat. It means being honest, accepting the truth, promoting the truth, and calling out lies when you see them for what they are, and being personally responsible for what you do and say so that you don't contribute to a problem by spreading false information. That is what it means to me to be a Democrat, to be a liberal, I am a democratic socialist, which is different than a socialist from Venezuela, something like that. A democratic socialist is someone who likes Social Security, likes Medicare, Medicaid systems that are in place and have been in place for, decades now. They keep our grandparents, secure. Disabled people able to live on their own as much as possible. Retired folks being able to supplement any pension they may get, and if they don't get a pension, live off of just that and hope that they have already paid off their home and things like that. These are systems that are safety nets for us that we pay into our entire lives until we need them. So Trump's plan would dissolve, the solvency of which is the financial backing that supports the system of payments that we have set up for Social Security recipients, Social Security disability recipients. Those are two different programs, and Medicare recipients. And then there's states which do the Medicaid. And a lot of times poor people who have Medicare will also get a state supplement when they cannot afford the 20% that Medicare doesn't pay for. The state will pay for it. If you're very poor, which a lot of people are. I am. Those are the kind of systems that are in place. When I say democratic socialist, I'm talking about that kind of stuff. Common sense stuff. We need to save Social Security because Trump is... I don't know if you guys realize this, but the act of trying to overturn Obamacare will, in itself, because this law is included in Obamacare, pre-existing conditions will not be covered by law anymore. because that law was incorporated into Obamacare, and it was a part of Obamacare. So they're not about to piecemeal that thing out. They said repeal and replace, but they ain't got nothing to replace it with, and they haven't presented anyone with any clear plan to replace it. It's a bunch of executive orders and a bunch of... they haven't come up with a plan. It is executive orders and hopes. There are no plans or legislation, which is real law, which is what really covers people from denials of pre-existing conditions coverage. It was written into law. Now, repealing that would put, I don't know how many of us are on an Obamacare type plan, an ACA plan. I don't really know that. I know I have Medicare Prime Advantage plan, but I'm disabled. And all these different things that Trump's trying to do with dismantling healthcare and doing things with Social Security, he's reaching into the Social Security fund to do other things with that money when that money is set for Social Security. So in 2023, I don't know if it was Medicare or Social Security, but one of those will no longer be solvent, meaning one of those will no longer be funded fully. We used to that date used to be in like 2050 or 2035 or something like that, pretty far out, like giving us time to fix it. Trump has made that date so much closer. 2 years closer now. 2 years away now, rather. I live off of Social Security disability, so that terrifies me. A lot of people just look at your moms and dads and your grandparents. Imagine taking away the only thing that they have that keeps them wherever they are, or even if they're just in a shithole, that's what keeps them there and not on the street. A lot of us, a lot of our families have been able to help the older people, and a lot of family members haven't because they don't have the money. Some families that have the money, it's not a big deal, and they don't really think about it as much, I'm sure, but, you know, poor people will tend to live together, multi-generational families, and, you know, people are like, oh, that's so cute, they do that, and it's like, no, they don't just do that. And they don't, and the reason they do that is because they can't always afford multiple places for their family members, for their mother, themselves, their children, maybe even the grandchildren, great-grandchildren. They would love to be able to get out of that situation. Most people would love to be able to have their own homes and not, you know, be bumping into in-laws every day. I'm sure, you know, yeah, they get together and, you know, people are like, oh, they get together and they make food for the holidays and stuff and they love family stuff. You know, they get tired of each other too. You know, maybe that's why they have, I'm not going to say something tropey. That's stupid. I'll admit to what I was going to say. You know, spicy Latino women or something like that, you know, they yell or something like that. Well, maybe they're tired of being around each other. I'm sorry. That's a horrible thing, but I admitted to saying it. And those are the kinds of things that are not even okay to say, but, you know, we still joke about them, and that's the only reason I went ahead and said it. I try not to say those kind of things and think that way. You know, I'm gay. I made a joke about, you know, I said something about gay people the other day, and I don't like doing that just because I am gay. Doesn't mean I shouldn't make a joke. Sure, I guess I could, and I can, or whatever. Yeah, I can make a joke of anybody, but should I? Is it healthy for society? I think we need to be personally responsible, show more personal responsibility for how our actions impact the world, because the world is in a state in which it's never been before, and who would have thought that the United States of America would have a would-be dictator in charge? and running for office and telling lies and people believing these outrageous lies. Think about where you were in your space, in your mind 4 years ago. Think about that. Would you have allowed someone to convince you? By the way, if you say, oh, I've seen footage, have you heard of deep fake videos? That's what these are. Altered videos to make it look like someone's touched a little girl up here or something when he's actually just, they're taking a picture. It was the picture, it was his hand here or whatever, and they're acting like he meant like deep fakes. Or they're acting like somebody pinched some girl's nipple or something. Do you think for 1 minute any Democrat is going to stand up to defend a man like that? No. That is the antithesis of what it is to be a Democrat. You're wanting to put good out in the world. You're wanting truth to prevail, and you want it to be done the correct way. You don't want to steal your way to the top. You want to get everyone the chance to be heard, and not just be heard but represented, and feel like they matter. We can't just hear them and be like, okay, they spoke. No, we need to do something different in this country, and that does not mean the kind of socialism that Donald Trump is trying to scare everybody from. First of all, the people running for president, no one running for president right now in America is a socialist. Joe Biden is a moderate. Kamala Harris is a Democrat. She has never professed. She used to be in law enforcement. I mean, she was a prosecutor. She has never made any types of statements about, stopping police and just having no police. No one is saying that. And the words of defunding police, I'm not saying whether I do or don't support that, but what I am saying is I don't support people twisting what people mean when they say something. When people say defund the police, they don't mean take away all police. They mean let's divert some of those funds towards mental health programs, because there are a lot of phone calls for domestic situations where we need to have someone else on hand, or at least officers that are very well trained, and they could be, this is something to be talked about. I'm not going to come up with the answer right here, but there's avenues to do this other than whack. You don't have to use a gun on every problem. And Democrats do not, by the way, want to take away your guns. Not at all. The Democrats love the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all of the amendments following that. These amendments are our rights to the Constitution. Amendments to the Constitution are our rights. And the first 10 were original, and we have added a few since then. The point is, you cannot believe these salacious, outrageous, wildly inaccurate, and offensive things that are being trumpeted all across the country and the world about everyone but Trump. When someone's telling you something about everybody but me, that says more about them than it does about anyone that person could be running against. Trump is dangerous. He's a dangerous man. He is not well, and he is making our country unwell. He is normalizing outrageous behavior, which 4 years ago would not have been acceptable, and today is still not acceptable, but it has become normalized. We expect it. I don't want to have to wake up and expect some kind of crazy shit every single day has gone on, that I haven't heard about. Watching the news every day should not be stressful. It should just update you about stuff that's going on, normal stuff. But there is so much going on, and I am a news junkie, but I hate it. I can't stand it when these lies are being believed by people. Obvious lies. These propaganda, these big lies that are so big people just wouldn't believe that a person would lie about. That is called a quote-unquote big lie, and it is a actual propaganda technique. And you keep spouting that same lie, even if people don't believe it at first. You keep saying it because it's such a big lie, and you keep doing it, and you throw, documents out that are from somewhere, but don't know where, can't verify it, but somehow they support this information. All these documents are just kind of screwy looking, looks like, stuff's been photoshopped in, let's say deep fakes, for example. QAnon. Where's my notes? QAnon is coming up with most of this stuff. Fallacious stuff against Democrats and against liberals and against just people. It is not real, and it is not true. What is true is that we have a liar in the White House who is telling us these lies which, I'm sorry, but how can you believe these lies? The information is factually available online, and I've continually told everyone how to get it, and I'm not saying you guys aren't doing anything wrong. I'm just saying the stuff I see on TV. What is going on, man? Why are people believing this stuff? That these propaganda. It's frustrating to me. This propaganda. It's frustrating to me because I've traveled the world and I've seen propaganda, and I've seen propaganda museum in Shanghai. They use propaganda like crazy there. They know they do, and they're all exposed to it, and it's a daily thing. And we don't need that here. We don't want that kind of political environment here. It's unhealthy, and it is anti-democratic. It is actually authoritarian type rule and dictatorship. Anyway, I've been on this thing for 53 minutes almost. I did not intend to have such a long video, but I think it's incredibly important. I hope this video is uploaded by the morning anyway, so I hope that it reaches some people and touches some of you guys' hearts. I'm concerned for the way where our country is headed. I'm concerned for the nature of what society could be changing into, the nature of safety in our country, and we don't have to be divided over politics. We really all want the same things, equality. And this is, again, when I say equality, it doesn't mean we're taking from one person to give to another. That's Robin Hood think. That's zero-sum mentality. No, equality just means others get same access as you. They don't get special or privileged access. They just don't have someone standing in front of them or another obstacle in their way that they have to clear or feel like they have to clear, whether others believe that they actually do have to clear it or not. I don't believe, and I mean, the evidence is right there, right here for us to see. There's one drop-box location per county in Texas. If that's not voter suppression, I mean, don't we want people to be able to vote? And now there's a case Trump is bringing in Texas to, I think I mentioned this, the 127,000 votes cast in a drive-through under a tent. Big deal. It doesn't meet a building code or something. That's why you want to throw them out. Possibly making that note as if a future judge might do it, but this judge didn't want to. We cannot silence people's voices. If they have voted, they have voted. There is not a bunch of rampant or any number. not even minuscule number of fraudulent votes happening. That does not occur. It has not been something that has ever been a problem or a point of contention, other than when the president or other Republicans just want to say that because they want less people to vote, because they know that the party which they belong to is falling apart. We've got to preserve democracy. The Republican Party is unsupportable, and people are not interested in that party. And when a party is losing viability like that, the party is scared, and the party will do drastic things, which Mitch McConnell has been doing, whether or not you feel he's following the letter of the law or the meaning, the meaning of what it's meant to stand for is regardless when you look at the morality of the things he's done, and him and Lindsey Graham saying, use my words against me, this will never... I apologize, I just got a text. That doesn't look good. Anyhow, you guys, we've got to participate. We've got to participate in democracy. And democracy doesn't mean Democrat. It means little d, or whatever, d, little d. Democracy. It's a government run by the people. It's when you and I get to vote to make decisions. And that's the only kind of government in which we've ever wanted in America. We left the Kingdom of Britain because we did not like their rule, and we wanted to live under our own rules, run by the people. That is what America is founded on. That is the idea that it is founded on. Now, it was built on slave labor and on the genocide of many Native Americans. And we need to quit running from that. That is history. And we just need to accept that it happened. Let's move past that. Let's get, if there's some animosity and stuff, let's go ahead and move past that. Let's acknowledge it, apologize for it, whatever is needed, and move past it. With all racism, with slavery, with what we do with immigrants trying to seek a better life at the border. I just don't think, I know people do not understand the incredible danger that people are legitimately fleeing in their own countries. They're usually fleeing after someone has already been killed. At least one person in their family has already been killed, and they're fleeing for their lives because of drug violence, and they don't want the drug violence in their community, or someone in their family may have stepped on somebody's toes somewhere wrongly, or they've witnessed something, or they were part of something in Mexico or South America, and the cartels, the gang decides, he's no good no more, whatever, let's kill him and his whole family. They are ruthless. And that's why they will flee up here, leaving everything they own behind. They may even have a place to own a house or something. Maybe just a dumpy little house compared to what we stuck-up people think, but it's all they know, and it's their home. And they're fleeing their home. All they know, where they grew up. Their family is all there. Their family, their friends, their culture is there. And they're coming to America because we have amnesty laws. We protect people, right? Well, while we're figuring out if you need to be protected, we're going to lock you in a cage and separate you from your mom and dad, and go ahead and separate mom and dad up too. And oops, we're not going to write down the names of the kid's parents, even though he was 4 years old or 3 years old or something. Surely they'll remember or something. They got to know their own name, 3 years old. Separated for how many months or days or whatever. Some cases, years. We have not found the parents of over 500 and, I don't know if it's 527, 547, something like that, children. Some of their parents were deported while leaving the children at the border in Mexico, separating them. Some of these children have died in ICE custody with things as simple as the flu, and not just some aggressive strain of the flu, but the fact that he got no treatment whatsoever. This is one specific case I am talking about, and I mean, he died on the floor, coughing and, saying he needed the doctor. They're just like, whatever, you'll be all right. Maybe they threw an Advil at him, I don't know, but they didn't give him proper medical